there everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Kristen, and here on this channel I'd like to talk about social and cultural issues through the lens of pop culture, public figures, social media, and stuff like that. Usually, but not always. Sometimes I do change it up. Today we're going to be talking about the tramp stamps and the public conversation that has been surrounding them, especially the accusations of them being industry plants. I'm going to focus less on whether or not they are industry plants, although I will talk about that, but I'm going to be focused more on like the conversation itself, like why are we talking about that specifically. And so if that sounds interesting to you, I hope you will stick around and watch this video. I apologize if the audio is a little weird. They are doing landscaping right now where I live, and I don't know how much it's going to show up on the microphone. Hopefully some of this is usable. This right here is probably not going to be usable. This is the loudest they've been. It must be going right by my house. I can't even remember what I can't remember what I'm talking about right now. Oh my goodness. Okay, so yeah, today we're going to be talking about the tramp stamps and the conversation about them. So thank you so much for being here and for continuing to watch this video and hearing what I have to say, even though literally everyone and their mother has been talking about the tramp stamps lately. But I swear I have something slightly different to say than other people. So that is my promise to you, the viewer. Anyway, let's get started. So the first question is, who are the tramp stamps, right? They are three women. They seem to be millennials. They seem like they're 25 and up. Their lead singer is Marissa Mano, guitarist is Caroline Baker, and the drummer is Paige Blue. Marissa and Caroline both have built careers as singer-songwriters, and Paige Blue works in multiple genres as a producer and a songwriter and a mix engineer. So all three of them have been working in the music industry for quite some time. So the Tramp Stamps are a pop punk band that went viral on TikTok because their music is embarrassing, frankly. It's the lyrics are cringy, and they have a very hello fellow kids kind of vibe, that meme. It really comes off like these women are trying to appeal to Generation Z, which makes sense. That's fair to want to appeal to, Gen Z, but it's being done in a way that they seem like they're trying so hard, and it's just so awkward and funny because it's so awkward. And so people were making fun of them at first, and then the conversation kind of turned to being about like, okay, wait a second. They're trying really, really hard to appeal to Gen Z in a very transparent way. They have very well-produced stuff. It's not like the music is good, but it is professionally done. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that that non-professionals put together. And then they have all these social medias that are posting very consistently. And then there's even actually a live stream where they're doing like a Q&A, and they tell someone that they work with a social media management company to keep their social media going. So all of that combined has been kind of used as evidence for them being industry plants. And what is an industry plant, you might ask, if you aren't super familiar with this term? It is it's when somebody has connections to the music industry, be that, backing of a record label or like really wealthy parents who work in music, and they try to present themselves as if they are homegrown and they kind of did everything on their own. That's generally what an industry plant means. And so for them to be industry plants, they would need to, first of all, have some kind of record deal, or be using their connections in a way to advance. And they would have to be trying to pretend that they don't have any connections or support. Okay, so just to answer the basic question, are they industry plants? No, I don't think so. Two of them are signed to Prescription Records, or they had publishing deals with Prescription Records or Prescription Publishing. I forget the name of the company. It's just a company that, makes music. Like, they sell music to artists and work with songs. So Prescription worked on Doja Cat's Say So, for example. And so two of them have deals, or had deals. One of them was in 2018, and one of them got a deal in 2020 with them. And then one of them has worked as a producer for a while, been working in the music industry. So these connections they have in the industry sound more like their resumes. Like it sounds more like just like their jobs and past work that they've done, which isn't the same thing as like having a record label actively working with you and actively shaping who you are. And that's what industry plant means. So no, them having careers and having jobs experience does not make them industry plants. And then it's just, I don't know. So they're not. Okay, but then the question becomes like, why was that what we were focused on? Why is that all we're talking about? Because like, again, their music is embarrassing. Like there's a lot to criticize about it. But instead we're talking about, are they plants? And so it's just weird and it's kind of boring and it's just repetitive. And so in my opinion, the reason why we're talking about whether or not they are industry plants is it's because they're women. It's sexism. It's often sexism in cases where women are being publicly criticized. Even when it is valid criticism, there's usually just a little bit of sexism sprinkled on top, just for a little flavor. And in this case, I think that's mostly what it is, because people saw these well-produced music videos that were professionally done, and they were like, oh, these three, they couldn't have done it. There has to be a man involved somewhere. There's some company somewhere, trying to like, evilly appeal to Gen Z audiences. And I just think I think if that's what was happening, they would be doing a better job of it. I think that they would be working with someone who is a Gen Z singer-songwriter, and who actually understands, the online culture and the Gen Z culture better, because, this is just, it's not working for them. And I think a record company, I think they would be doing a better job of it. So I don't think they're plants. I think people think they're plants because it's just a thing you kind of lob at women. A lot of pop stars are called industry plants because they have some kind of connection or some kind of like history of working in music. And it's just like, I think you're confusing being a plant with having a career and not just emerging from the ether, a pop star. But it's just weird. Just like, to kind of sum up the reason I don't think they're plants, basically, when you're looking at two different explanations for something, whichever one requires the fewest assumptions is probably right. That's like a logical tool called Occam's razor that, everyone on the internet has probably heard of by now. But so let's think about it. Let's think about the industry plant explanation. So that would mean a record label picked these three women specifically because they were trying to appeal to pop punk bands and, do an industry plant thing. And they thought these three millennial women could appeal to Gen Z. And they greenlit some of those problematic lyrics, and they really thought this Hey Fellow Kids act was going to work. That's one. There's a lot of assumptions there, quite a lot, okay? Explanation two, which I think is the real one, is that these three women have worked in music for a while. They wanted to start a band. They decided to do a punk band for some reason, so they did a punk band, a pop punk band. There are no assumptions being made for that explanation, so I'm just going to go with the simplest one, which is they're not plants, they're just bad at appealing to Gen Z. So since that's what they were trying to do, that means they're kind of bad at what they do. Not to be like harsh, but if that's their target market, they are failing at appealing to it. So bad. So now let's talk about like what's probably more worth talking about and more worth criticizing about them. I did see some discussion of this, but like it just kind of got overblown by the industry plant talk. One of their songs is just really weird. They're singing about essentially how they don't like straight white guys and they don't want to date another one, and they'd rather die than dating another one. And they list off, a bunch of straight white guy names, kind of like how you see on Twitter where people are making fun of people. They say like, shut up, Chad, or whatever. They're doing that. And it really comes off like they've been reading Twitter, but they don't fully understand the jokes that they're reading. And so they were trying to reference this like popular thing where you kind of talk bad about straight white men. But they're not understanding that when you are a white person, it's weird. It makes it look like you don't realize you're white and that you don't realize you are, tied to the same things that they are. So I'm white, right? If I were to start talking about how white men are just, well, and, you know, going off like that, it would seem like I was trying to distance myself from the fact that I'm white. And it's very transparent and weird because obviously I am. That's what's happening with the tramp stamps. And the way they say they'd rather die than date like another straight white guy means, you know, that would mean that they are looking for men of color, right? And so then you get in this whole weird thing where it feels like they're being like fetishistic towards men of color, as if they're just these magical unicorns that are just better than white men for some reason. And it's just like, can you not other marginalized groups? The lyric comes across like they don't realize they are white and like they don't want people to connect them with whiteness. And then like they think that people of color should want to date them or whatever. It's just super awkward. And I feel like this lyric is an example of that bigger phenomenon where people of a majority group try to distance themselves from that identity, and they try to kind of be like, I'm one of the good ones, and oof, they're all really bad. And it's embarrassing when we do it, and we should stop doing it. I am not qualified to lead a conversation about this phenomenon. I'm not like someone who is hurt by it when people do that, because I am, you know, a member of a majority group. But I feel like it needs to be said that like, that's the problem with them. The problem is not that they may or may not be plants. The problem is that their lyrics are problematic. So yeah. And okay, so there's one other thing I want to touch on in relation to the tramp stamps, and that is their tie to Dr. Luke, at least their tie. A lot of people are reporting them like the band, the Tramp Stamps, is signed by Dr. Luke specifically. And that's just not what's happening. Dr. Luke, if you don't know, is the producer that used to work with Kesha, and he is accused of a lot of really bad things by Kesha. And in general, people tend to side with Kesha, including myself. So I'm not his biggest fan, okay? But he owns Prescription Records, and he, you know, is a prolific producer, right? He did Say So with Doja Cat. He works with the Chainsmokers. You know, he won a Grammy this past year for Say So. So it's not like people who are at the very bottom of their careers, who don't have any kind of credentials. They aren't like these girls who were signed by his record label, his publishing company. These girls who got signed by his publishing company, they don't know Dr. Luke. They've never met him. They don't work with him. They got signed by women who work at his company that he owns. It's just, there's not that much of a connection, if you ask me. If we're gonna scrutinize that, then we need to scrutinize everybody for who they work for, because pick a corporation, they've probably been doing some bad stuff. You know what I mean? It's just a weird it's criticizing people for having jobs is what it feels like. It's like, we all know how hard it is to work in the music industry as a professional, to like make money as a singer or a songwriter or producer or something like that. It's not something everyone can do. You know, there's a reason that like music is not the field that parents push their children into, right? So to criticize these two girls because they got publishing deals with a company, and which meant they were able to work as professional musicians, which they hadn't been able to do up until then, it's just weird to me that the people who didn't actually do anything wrong get more flack than the person who's actually accused of doing really horrible things, which is Dr. Luke. Like, he's allowed to win Grammys, but any like no-name singer who signs a deal with his publishing company that he owns, they're the ones who are the bad people and who deserve to be criticized. It's bizarre. It seems like sexism, just like the industry plant conversation did. You know, it's just. So and there's like one other thing I want to touch on in relation to the industry plant thing. I've seen a lot of people saying like, because they're a pop punk band, it matters more whether or not they're plants, because punk is, you know, supposed to be an anti-establishment genre. You're not supposed to sell out. You're not supposed to like take deals and be controlled by the record company if you're a punk band. But here's the thing. They're not a punk band. They're not. They're a pop punk band, and that is distinct. in my opinion, from punk. Avril Lavigne was a pop punk artist, you know what I mean? She had a record label. Her image was crafted by a record label in many ways. Like, you know, it was her genuine teen angst and her like genuine style, but at the same time, like everything about her music video and work was carefully engineered and produced to appeal to the people that it appealed to. So Avril Lavigne was an industry plant, but did we care? No. Because she made good music and we liked it and it spoke to us, especially if you were like me and you were a child when her music came out. So the problem isn't that they're industry plants or that they're not industry plants. The problem is that their music's not that great. It doesn't, you know, speak to anybody's heart. It doesn't come across as authentic. It's a little embarrassing. It's just not good. It may be professionally made, but it's not good. And that's what I think we should be talking about. I think that we should look at women's work and evaluate it for what it is and talk about it for what it is. I don't think that we should dismiss women because we think somebody else must be the ones puppeteering them. You know what I mean? Like, their work is bad. Let's just talk about that. Like, I don't know. Is that weird that I'm saying, like, does what I'm saying make sense? I hope it makes sense. So that's all I have to say about the tramp stamps. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you are someone who is new to my channel, if you saw my video last week about Gabby Hanna, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this one and, you know, being here. Especially if you commented on my last video, thank you so much for all the nice things y'all said. I was overwhelmed. I don't know how to take that many compliments. I had to like put my phone away because I just like, I don't know, it was just weird. So I tried to reply to people and like interact, but I can only do so much because it's just a lot to get that many people telling you nice stuff. I don't know. I'm just like, oh no, I can't take it. I don't deserve these compliments. I mean, I'm kidding. I'm not trying to like be self-pitying or anything like that. It's just like, I don't know. I'm sure somebody who's watching can relate to that feeling of like, oh no, please don't keep complimenting me. It hurts. But no, actually do please keep complimenting me. I will manage my own compliment anxiety as it comes. But anyway, all that is to say thank you for watching. I really appreciate all the nice feedback and the new subscribers. Thank you for joining. I hope you will continue to watch. I will be back next Wednesday with another video because that is my upload schedule is on Wednesdays. Yeah, and thank you for being here, and say hi to Poe. I think she is, yeah, there's Poe. Poe, baby, hi. Okay, Poe says hi. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and bye.